What is going on, everyone? Meteorologist Jonathan Keg is back with you to talk about this likely major winter storm that is going to have significant impacts on travel, potentially packages that you are shipping, getting to where they need to be in time, because this system is going to be so large. So we are going to get right into it. In this video, we are going to break down a major Arctic blast that's coming through. So most everybody in the country will at least be impacted by the cold. There are a select few that are going to get a very high impact snowstorm, and confidence is growing in that. We're going to take a look at those areas now, specifically in and around the Great Lakes and extreme interior Northeast. And then we're going to put a bow on this and track the trouble spots that you could have as we move over the week ahead if you're traveling for Hanukkah or traveling for Christmas. Over the next couple of days leading up to the holiday itself. Again, it could be rough in spots. So the confidence is going up. Showed you this in the last video again, and there was some discrepancy on where the location was. We were talking in yesterday's video on why I thought that we weren't going to get blasted along the I-95 corridor, as some of those crazy outlandish model runs that took over social media were showing the pattern just wasn't right. Certainly more of that inland runner feel. And again, this is exactly what we are looking at here, and we're going to go into and break down the system as it comes together in just a second. But you see the confidence remains very, very high that a storm develops. It is growing in location. Precip type, if you're on the cold side, it's going to be snow. If you're on the warm side, it's going to be rain. So again, the confidence is high with that as well. We are going to take a closer look at this, though, as the system comes together. So this is going to be Thursday morning. And you see there's a whole lot of mess. We have the weak part of the system now getting going. Places like Wichita, Kansas. We can have a white Christmas this year. Omaha, Nebraska, up through the Twin Cities, as the little piece of this system slides on down through the upper Midwest and plains. Then we have the secondary part of the system off to the East Coast. And you see the green representing the rain, the pink representing the mixed precip, and then the blue representing the snow. Watch what happens as we take this forward and this kind of comes together. Now we have the main part of the system really ramping up as we get into Friday the 23rd. So this is overnight, and we have, again, rain through the major cities of the I-95 corridor. This is the main part of the system really ramping up. Our area of low pressure is going to be right in here. So if you're watching from Chicago, watching from Wisconsin or Michigan, Indiana, this looks like at this point, this is going to be your storm a couple days leading up to Christmas. So it's all but guaranteed that you will see the white stuff for Christmas. Here is 8 o'clock on your Friday evening. Again, Festivus for those who celebrate. If you need to air the grievances with the weather, do it with the weather, not the meteorologist. Anyway, not my fault. I'm just telling you it's coming. Here we go. You see the blue still wrapping around the center of low pressure, which is now lifting towards Toronto. But then the Great Lakes get involved when you have the northwest wind over Lake Michigan, some crushing snows likely coming to northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and then some of that sneaks into western Pennsylvania. Here's the model output here in terms of the snow. I don't want you to focus too much on the numbers. There's going to be wiggle room here to find out till we break down where the exact axis of heavy snow is going to be. That is still yet to be determined. What I am confident, though, in saying is where we're likely going to see the significant snow is going to be in Wisconsin, northern Illinois, so Chicago, we're included in this. Certainly South Bend, the lake is going to help us out big time, even if we miss the axis of heavy snow, because we're going to have a giant lake-enhanced band likely. Muskegon, Michigan, Detroit, we're going to be on the edge. So again, this is where I'm saying don't pay attention too much to the actual numbers, because if this thing goes just 25, 50 miles to the east, Detroit, we're getting more than 2 inches. So again, just keep that in mind. I just wanted to show you this from some perspective on where the heaviest is going to fall. And then the lake effect, snow kicks back up again in Buffalo and in Watertown, some higher elevation snow through Pennsylvania into Maryland, into Western Virginia. Blacksburg, we could pick up enough for a white Christmas. 3 inches might be overdoing it as the cold has to catch up with the moisture. Although if there's ever a scenario in the Blue Ridge Mountains, Western Appalachians, for this to happen, it's now, because the cold is going to come screaming right in behind this system. So cold, in fact, that I think a lot of us are going to see the coldest air that we have felt, or going to feel the coldest air that we have felt in years. We're tracking this big, bright pink blob that's coming through the northern tier of the country. Really, on Tuesday morning, this starts to invade the northern plains, Montana, the Dakotas, northern Minnesota. This is on Wednesday morning now, and you see this pink. Watch what happens. It just sinks right down east of the Rockies. I'll show you the forecast temperatures in a second for perspective here, but there's the air mass as of Thursday, December 22nd, and then nobody can hide from this east of the Rockies. It is going to be a very cold Christmas and a very cold couple of days leading up to Christmas as a result of this air that is coming straight from us, or straight from the Arctic to the United States. Again, this is chilling. This is charging up in Siberia right now and going to take a trip right on through the Arctic Circle. So this is a very, very cold source region here. And you see out there, not that pink, not that purple. If you want to escape the cold, again, not even Florida is escaping this blast of cold. You have to go to the desert Southwest, Southern California, I should say. Carolina, we're going to get blasted. I was just looking at the Carolinas, and that's that Freudian slip, I guess. Here we go. These are the temperatures starting on Wednesday morning across the country. Watch how quickly and watch how cold this air mass is. 32 degrees below zero in Fargo. This is without the wind. These are actual air temperatures. Again, watch what happens as this bright purple, this dark purple. It looks ominous here. It's just the color table. But you see we're way below zero, pushing 20 below across the northern tier of the country. Now we're talking about this cold front, this strong Arctic cold front, which is pushing right in here, moves down into the deep south and moves into the southeast. So here would be our cold front right in here. And I mean, notice the difference. So this is going to be early Friday morning now. And I want to point out Florida specifically, because right now things are looking great. Friday morning, there's going to be some rain around, I think, but you're going to wake up. It's going to be nice and warm, not so fast. Pack the heavy stuff for your commute home from work. We're going to start things off in the 60s in Central Florida, and then watch what happens. By dinner time, we're pushing the upper 30s, low 40s in some cases, especially northwest of Orlando. Now, this is going to be on Christmas Eve morning, so December 24th. Look how cold it is now across the entirety of the country. We're still way below zero in the Twin Cities and in Fargo. We're used to that. But look at where the freezing weather has gone down to. 30 now in Orlando. I think a lot of Florida north of Lake Okeechobee could verify a hard freeze, which is 28 degrees below zero. Again, that would be the coldest air we have felt in a very, very long time in those spots. Miami has a chance to dip into the 30s from this. Only spot that we are going to be safe from this cold is going to be desert Southwest as a ridge of high pressure kind of builds up. Now, I want to show you this too. Again, if you are heading up to the upper Midwest, northern plains to visit family, make sure you are prepared for this snow. Or for this cold. We could have wind chills at times pushing 30, 40, 50 degrees below zero. There are wind chill watches already in effect to kind of already in advance of this cold air, because wind chill watches for those areas mean that dangerously cold wind chills, life-threatening cold wind chills. I mean, we're talking, again, 30, 40, 50 degrees below zero when you factor in that breeze. Crazy, crazy cold. All right, here is the travel forecast. We're going to put a bow on this, and again, this kind of includes, it's just a summary of basically what we just talked about. We're starting this on Monday, if anyone is leaving on Monday. And let me know if you're traveling in the comments. If you are finding this video helpful, please hit that thumbs up. It really does help out a lot, and it lets YouTube know to push this out to more people so that they can see what is coming down the pipeline. And there is a lot if you're doing a mad dash to get shopping done or to leave your city to go visit family or friends. Trouble spots on Monday. Might be a few. Eastern Texas, Dallas, Houston. There's a little system coming through the nation's midsection. Missouri, Kansas, Iowa. We could get in on some light snow. The travel disruptions then focus more to the east. That same system that was in Texas kind of rides the North Gulf Coast and then works its way toward Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and then into Florida later on in the day. So if you're trying to fly in and out of Orlando, you might have some delays. It shouldn't be anything too crazy. It's going to be some decently heavy rain, especially into the evening, but that's going to be the area we watch. As mentioned before, the Arctic chill is starting to work its way into the northern tier of the country by Wednesday, December 21st. Wednesday, all in all, looks like a pretty good day to travel. We do have some snow, and this is the makings of our big one. We have some snow entering the northern tier of the country, Pacific Northwest, Intermountain West. Keep that in mind. And then it kind of works its way down. So this is the, again, makings of this big system. We have a piece of it out here. It's kind of like Power Rangers or Voltron, if you were a fan of those shows. How, the little lions or whatever the heck they were on the weaker side until they joined together and made the Megazord? I think so. Or Voltron, whichever show you choose. Watch what happens here. We have a weak little piece of the energy here. We have another strong or weak piece here. And then as we move into Thursday, that's when we have the explosion. And now we have a full-on winter storm going, potentially near blizzard conditions in places like Chicago, northern Indiana, Wisconsin, northwest Ohio, Michigan, because the wind is going to crank up as this area of low pressure explodes over the mid-Atlantic and Midwest. So just keep that in mind. Not only are we going to have a ton of snow in these spots, it's also going to be very windy. Again, travel likely will be impacted from the nation's midsection at this point on Friday morning all the way to the northeast, even though we are just going to get some heavy rain. Then there is that cold front that extends down through central Florida. And again, 8 o'clock in the morning on December 23rd, Festivus, 62 degrees in Orlando. Not so fast by the time you wake up on Christmas Eve morning. It's going to be cold. Alrighty, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Post those in the comments below. There was a lot there that we are tracking. As you saw, it is a jam-packed, almost as jam-packed as it comes in terms of any kind of travel issues. I mentioned earlier, too, about the packages. If you are trying to mail something out and the Postal Service has those dates of guaranteed arrival, there's the fine print. The fine print says in perfect weather conditions. So if there's anything, and it doesn't have to be going to the areas that are going to be impacted by this storm. Things get jammed up in different places, just like when you're flying. If something's impacting Atlanta, that has ripple effects down the line. Nonetheless, as I ramble on here, make sure you're getting that out as early as possible, because this is the real deal storm here in parts of the Great Lakes and Midwest, specifically from western Ohio into Michigan, into eastern Wisconsin, into Indiana, into Illinois. We may be able to get a full-on blizzard out of the deal, as the wind is going to be super, super strong. And there's going to be a ton of snow with this, especially from Chicago to northern Indiana, and then a lot of Michigan. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, as we will keep you ahead of this major blast of winter. Really the best shot for a lot of people for a white Christmas in some time. Again, I am sorry if you are watching from the I-95 corridor and rooting for some snow. You may see some flakes at the tail end, but it's not going to amount to much. It's going to be cold, but I think we're going to be doing without the snow. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.